Greetings and welcome. You're in the zone, the Biz Info Zone. My name is Lynn Hawkins. I'm your host. I am the founder and dean of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. And you know what? I love this stuff. I love bringing you the people who can bring you their ideas and strategies and tips and tools, because for social entrepreneurs wanting to do more good in the world, I want you to have the ability to do that and to do it with ease. And the guests that I bring in are for you, the savvy social entrepreneur, to be able to express your purpose, plan your next moves, and do business that actually takes you and others into the realm of prosperity. So welcome to today's show, where my guest is the fabulous Gail Watson. She's the president and founder of Women Speakers Association, the go-to place for innovative leaders and women with a message to connect, collaborate, and to grow their visibility worldwide in order to just do more good in the world, make themselves more accessible to do more good in the world and fulfill their mission, share their creative ways. And she's going to actually give you so much information. If you are someone that has an online community, you're part of an online community, or you desire to initiate one that is connected with your business, you're in the right place today. Because WSA is one of the first ever global communities for women speakers, and Gail and her team have actually cracked the code that shows record growth and engagement within their community. And I'm just so grateful that she's here today sharing it with you. You can read more about who she is, and we'll be sharing more about what WSA is and how you can take advantage if you're someone who's interested in having a bigger opportunity to share your message in the world. We're going to talk about growing your online community, easily prompting meaningful engagement between members, and creating connections that just don't normally happen online. So if you would help me to welcome Gail Watson today. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Lynn. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. And again, really what I enjoy about this call is you are living on purpose just by, committing to your community to bring, sharing of best practices to really help everyone out there, shorten the learning cycle, and let's get on an accelerated growth. I'm here as an open book for you today, so I will share with you anything you want to know about how we're doing things.
Well, thank you. That's so cool, because this community wants to know, how can I grow my community? How can I get my people engaged? And I can't think of a better example than what WSA is doing. And so we're going to talk about that and more. First, tell our audience a little bit more about you and how you got on this journey of, having something like WSA and focused on growing it and helping it to do so in with such ease and grace.
I wish it was an easy answer. I've always considered myself a professional networker, so I've been very active. My past has been very active in the event community and with professional networking, so really a lot of that live networking time. And as we know, when we're networking out there, it does take a lot of time, and quite often it doesn't feel like we're getting good return on our investment of time. And so there's a lot of common denominators that happen when we're in live situations, where when we show up, there's that one, we're not feeling value of return on investment of our time, and then we feel like sometimes the people that we're meeting in the room, it's all, everybody seems to be puffing themselves up, and it's all about, hey, look at me, here's what I have, you need it, you should buy it right now. And there seems to be a real disappointment with people that if someone doesn't buy from you right away that night, um, it feels like it was a waste for you, you know. So I've seen this happen in the offline world, so to speak, and we knew going into the community and Women Speakers Association that we knew it would be 100% online, and how were we going to be doing it differently? By taking what happens in the live environment, how are we going to morph that into an online environment, and up front and in the beginning days it looks a little daunting, like it almost seems impossible, right? If you can't be face to face with somebody and looking into their eyes and all of that kind of, you wonder how it's going to take place and how it unfolds. But that's what we're going to talk about, because I want to share with you everything and how technology is actually our friend in this whole piece.
Oh, that's amazing. There's so many of us who are doing this whole technology thing, and it's allowed us to really step in the space of thinking, considering having these online communities. And one of the things that I get asked a lot is, how can we grow? What can we do to create sustenance within our group? And I'm just really grateful that you're here to share some of that with us. So tell us a little bit about the history of your organization, when you started. Did you have a lot of members when you started? How did you get your first few numbers in the group?
Sure. Well, so we opened the doors on January 11th, 2011. So 1-1-1-1-1.
Beautiful.
That was intentional. And but prior to that, there was a small group of us talking. And if you check out our team page, this is our group of co-founders. And these co-founders came together sharing a vision and having conversation. So the way this community was built was it was really taking on the form of, it wasn't about just us sitting around going, okay, we know this isn't working in this industry, and we know that's not working, and so this is how we're going to fix it, and this is what we're going to build, and this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to launch it on January 11th, and you're going to love it, and you're going to buy it. Didn't happen that way at all. This is how we wanted to come out of the gate, because while there was vision, we had no idea. We had no idea how we were going to get there. We didn't even really know what needed to be corrected. We just knew what wasn't working and had to be changed. And we knew that women would be at the forefront of defining the new ways on how we market ourselves, the new ways on how we connect, the new ways how we'll get our speaking engagement, the new way of doing this business. So that's what we went. So we started with just simply a handful of women talking. We launched with a simple WordPress blog, and we wanted to see, hey, was there anybody else out there interested in what we were talking about? And within 3 weeks of our launch, we had landed on over 80 countries and had 500 members. And by the way, that was our 6-month goal, was 500 members.
Wow.
We did that in 3 weeks. That's the power of the internet, and that was the power. And that all came with, first of all, a vision. And it was simply sharing that vision with others and seeing if they were interested. So the response was overwhelming in terms of women from all over the world. I mean, they were emailing in and saying, how can I be a part of this? How can I help? How can I grow this? And you know what? And that was its starting ground. This Women's Speakers Association is truly built by the community. It was the community who defined what was going to be needed. It was the community who decided what directions we should be going in. And that made it very easy for us as the leadership team to go out and find partners that would be the perfect fit for what the community was saying they wanted, what they needed, what they desired. And I mean, doesn't it sound so simple? Here's what your customer is asking for, and just fulfill what your customer is asking for. I mean, it sounds so simple, but yet so often we as entrepreneurs, we get the big light bulb turn on in our head, and the great idea, and we build it, and we get out there and we launch it, only to find it, sometimes it's not quite received what we, as what we thought, and it's simply because there was no it wasn't simply because there was no community involvement. If you compare this to, I mean, and this isn't any secret, but if you compare this to corporations have the big dollars, and when they're doing a product launch, they're doing focus groups, they're doing tastings, they're finding out, they're survey, and they'll spend a few years on surveying just to get it right. And then when it hits the shelves, it hits the ground, hits the ground running. And we as entrepreneurs can do that as well. And surveying is your friend. Always taking the temperature of what your community wants. In fact, it's the very first thing when you become a member of Women Speakers Association. One of the very first things you're invited to do is take a quick little survey. And all the survey is asking you, what do you want? Because it's based on what you want. It's that data that comes in that provides us our roadmap for our next directions. We do nothing by guessing, nothing by chance. It's all in response, direct response to what members say they want or need. And that's it.
Wow. What an amazing story, Not many people can say 80 countries and 500 members plus in 3 weeks. So kudos to you. And, one of the things that I always look at from a strategy standpoint is the strategy for launch, the strategy for serving, for delivering, and then the strategy for retention of customers, clients, etc., members, and then, of course, the exit strategy. I think that you should always think that far ahead, because suppose an opportunity comes up and you choose to step away or something like that. Was that part of your intentional planning for this? If an opportunity came up where one of the team or all of the team, all of that was, and then I'll come back to the middle part where we kind of talk about the workings that keep retention high and that kind of thing.
Okay, that's yeah. So in Leora Mendeloff and myself are the two partners that launched Women Speakers Association. And the one thing that we did, even a year prior, before launching, was have good legal agreements. When you are going, my number one piece of advice is when you're going into a partnership. If you're serious about going into business, contact that attorney. Get her legal advice, because it brings up a lot of scenarios when you're working with your attorney. A lot of scenarios are presented to you, and one of being is your exit strategy. Now, at the time we did our agreement, we didn't, we thought we'd be 20 years into the game together as a team. But you know what? As entrepreneurs, when you're on a journey, you're on a journey. And sometimes it changes for people along the way. And that did happen. And it with my partner Leora just this past summer. And you know what? It was such a beautiful experience because when you have a really, really close partnership with somebody and you truly believe in the other person and wanting the very, very best for them, then if somebody says, you know what, I need to go in this direction now, or I need to do this, then it's welcomed with open arms, and and you find yourself more in a supportive position because you do want to see that person thrive and with whatever they're doing. So we used actually our transition of partnership as a demonstration to the community. We are very open about it and honest about it to show that transition isn't negative. Okay, when a partnership dissolves, sometimes people are going, okay, what's the inside scoop? What really happened, right? It doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes there's good reasons why you're separating. It's actually a positive all the way. And so we wanted to showcase that to the membership. This was actually a really good thing, and it was a positive thing. And if you always stay in the act of serving another person, you will always want what's best for that person. You don't want to be in a situation if we're partners and you want to go, or that I hang on to you and force you to hold down. You're going, what? Wait, this is where we were going, and this. No, people come and go in your lives to take you to those next levels. I was just having a conversation before we came together here, and it was about just talking about how people will come into your life to take you to your next stages within your journey. And I don't want to say higher stages or lower stages, just the next place in the journey. Because I really don't believe there's a hierarchy. For me, that's a negative. I'd rather just say it's just stepping stones. You're in that river of going after your vision, and you're jumping from stone to stone to stone and having a great time. And along the way, you meet some great people. So, but we write about it. It's on our blog. There's a full openness to it. So that's a commitment to the community as well, that there's no smoke and mirrors going on here. We're real people, and that we want you to see exactly what's going on, especially when it's something really, really good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's funny. One of the things that I do as a practice is really bring into the concept of what social entrepreneurs should know is, in building your business, in building your organizations, your communities, the full gamut. It starts somewhere and it's going to end somewhere. And we really, for social entrepreneurs, it's legacy. And we can be the living legacy, or we can be the legacy on the other side where, we leave these things. But I do believe it's in the living legacy and living from the heart and serving. And you put it so beautifully when you have the heart of serving, where you know that you want the best for everyone in your community, and that's reciprocated. It brings forth such beauty. And
right.
I love that Leora was able to move as her journey called her. And you, the same thing, moving as the journey is calling us. And as we're building these communities, I've often thought that many of us do it with a singularity of heart. Huge purpose, huge vision, but we're doing it by ourselves, and it gets difficult. And when we're in the space of, how am I going to build membership? All of these things come to play. It's tough sometimes to move out of that. And so Tell us a little more about why it was so important for you to have a team, to look at partners, and really bring that into how you're planning, how you started out planning to grow the organization.
Okay, well, just to back up just a little bit because this ties into why the importance of team. It was Leora who originally, it was her waking up at 3 in the morning one day with the Vision, Women Speakers Association. And she had this vision and shared it with a small group of us. And that small group became the team. And it was interesting because during our transition, she looked up the word legacy. And for legacy to happen, in the definition, you actually had to separate from something for legacy to be there. And that's what she did. It was originally her vision, and the importance of team was that this vision is still carried out. She took it to the point of her expertise, her specialty, and then it was handed off to the next part of team who takes it to the next, right? And it might be that there's another group ahead of us that take it to the next level, right? So Women Speakers Association is it's a journey, and it requires different team people to take it to its next stages within the journey. So none of us become, so while we're involved, we're highly attached, we're highly motivated and coming in as of service, but it's okay. It's okay as a team member that if we've reached that point of really giving it all we can, and it needs that next influx of energy or different direction, then that's what will happen. So in that case, it's very, very, very good and a great foundation for a sustainable business for the long term. I know Women's Speakers Association is around for a long, long time and will be very successful in community build. So the team, the success of building strong community, 100% surround yourself with a good team. And how would you define a team, right? So let's think about where you see your business 5 years from now. Just get that vision in your mind right now and ask yourself, are the people that you're surrounding yourself with right now, are they the very people that can help you get to that vision in that time frame? You will have the answer immediately, okay? You will know that. You will feel it in an energetic level. Now, if the answer is no, I don't have that team, well, guess what? Guess what road you're on right now? Get the team. Okay? Whether you invest in the team, start sharing your vision with other people who you think would be part of that team. Start to identify those people, share your vision, and get connected with that team. Right? Now, if you say to yourself, no, I have that team. I have that team, absolutely. Then go for it. Stay connected. Continuing that, stay on track, keep each other accountable. And so team is very, very important. And to allow every team person that you have that bring in their strengths to shine, to do it, one thing that I know will kill your team is if you're a control freak. if you suppress somebody's talent, someone's energy, you just end up with a robot. You're just going to end up with somebody who punches in, punches out, and just does what you say, and that's it. You want to empower the creative, their true expertise, because remember why you identified them in the first place. It's because they showed you they're expert in whatever area that you were needing, again, to hit your goal. So that's a big part, your team. And teams are constantly evolving and revolving. It's a continuous moment. Again, people come, people go, and it's really, really important that as a unit, though, you're all on the same page and you all know communication's key here of who is coming, who is going, what they do, what they don't do, so that you're not offending people and hurting other people's feelings along the way, because we're people. We have
Mm-hmm.
feelings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is great. This is really great because, you know, the whole concept around team, there's no I in team, and together everyone achieves more. There's just that whole energy around team. You feel like you're supported and you can support others, and it just brings about, especially for women, it brings about a real holistic, rounded view of what the possibilities are. You're always encouraged to stay in the possibilities, and I love that.
Yeah.
And so, how do you manage around retention? Okay, you obviously have the way of bringing members in, and I know the team works really well with that side of things. And maybe before we start talking about retention, let's talk about how the team functions around introducing Women's Speakers Association in order to build membership. How does that happen, and how do you encourage that as a team leader?
As a team leader, okay. So as the team leader, and this is what I say to our team, my commitment, first and foremost, is to our team. My job is to help them, give them the resources they need, and I seek out opportunity where I can highlight them, right? I really want to, because they're contributing a lot. First off, I think everybody should know is that WSA's team is 100% volunteer. It's made up of our premier members. It's made up of those members, just like day one, who have contacted us and said, how can I help? How can I contribute? Okay? And different people come and go. They might come in for 6 months. They might come in for a year. And then we have others that have been around since day one. So it's really fantastic. And so as the team leader, yeah, my commitment is to the team 100%, because the team's commitment is to the community. You see, because they stepped up. They believed in the vision. They're the ones who said, I want to come in and serve. This is what I'm good at, and this is how I'd like to serve the community. Great. You know, and so that's how our team operates. Now, how do they communicate out? First of all, each one of them can say they are a member. They are a member first and foremost. And as we're growing, actually, this is something very interesting because it's just happening right now as we've been working with new members who have just come in, who are social media experts, and they're always giving tips. And just recently, one sent me in a full document on here's what your team needs to do to their profile on LinkedIn. Here's what they need, to leverage also the power of what's happening in Women's Speakers Association to enhance their profiles. And I'm going, this is great. So we are always learning. We're always learning different little tricks and different little things that we can do on social media. And just so you know, those strategies, because I asked her, she goes, well, this is what all the team should be doing. I said, okay, great. I said, well, if they're going to leverage Women's Speakers Association, can our members do that too? Can they ride the wake of what's going on? And she's like, absolutely. So she did a document for the membership, and we'll be posting that into the email system so that when you join, you receive that email, and it says, here's a little tip that you can do to enhance your profile, to ride the wave, so to speak. And because all that information, we all, like team is everybody working together, right?
Yes.
So if we take a look at from team leader to executive team and community building team, to membership. Membership is the biggest team of all, right? And
Mhm.
so as in standing in service to them, we're also committed to, I mean, we say we have one commitment to membership, and that is to help you get your message out to this world. Okay? How do we do that? That's that is the road we're on. Different mediums come into play to do that. Um, whether it be social media, interviews, blogging, you know, whatever that passion is of yours, we find that link in. But the first thing that we're committed to is getting your message out to this world. So if we have a machine, if you picture Women's Speakers Association as that speedboat in the water, right? And it has that big wake behind it that, I mean, you can get on that wake and ride it. And if that helps you get your profile boosted, if that helps you get bounced up in Google, if that helps you um, get out there more, then that is great. That's just another way that we can help draw attention to who you are. Because we as a full team are committed to having you in the spotlight, showcasing you to the world. So it's the same thing right throughout from team leader right through to member. We're all doing the same thing.
Well, I love how you actually relate it to the fact that the team, your commitment as team leaders to the team and the team's commitments to the community, and it's evident in what it is that you're doing. And that takes me to, how does that equate in retention? You know, it's one thing to bring members in, but is what you're doing actually helping to retain members, and how?
First of all, member retention. Yeah, that's it definitely when you're starting off, and still, it can be a bumpy road because you have to find out what works, what doesn't. So just like any product from a big corporation, it goes through test markets. And I think we as business owners have to remember that. Like, again, that great idea, oh, this is going to be fantastic, and it hits the market, and oops, nobody purchased it. Well, how come? So there is that product life cycle, that product testing, where you come out with the product and then you test it. And during that testing, it's really important, once again, is feedback, surveying, to find out why didn't somebody purchase. So when we were first starting off and somebody wanted to leave the membership, we phoned them up and asked them, why? Why? We still do it today. Why? Because it's really important and to stay in touch with that, because if you see a common statement coming through as to why someone is leaving your business, then that you need to plug up that hole and solve it. So information, when someone's not purchasing from you, that's a great opportunity to learn why. Why? And don't be afraid to ask. Because if you're committed to your business for the long term, you will want to not only celebrate those wins when somebody wants to buy off you, that's fantastic, but when they leave, it's you want to stay in a relationship with them. You'll have a newsletter. I hope you have a newsletter. You better have a newsletter. You need one to stay in touch. Because just because someone doesn't buy from you today doesn't mean they're not going to buy from you tomorrow. They might not buy from you for 5 years down the road. So you want to stay in touch with them, and you want to know those reasons, because maybe you solved them. You've spent some time in your business working on the business and were able to find a solution to that issue why people weren't dealing with you. And so it's just really important to keep your ego, to keep your feelings out of it. When someone doesn't purchase from you, it doesn't mean they don't like you. It just simply means that they're not connecting to that product or that service, you know? So try and keep that personal. I know it's hard as entrepreneurs, but try and keep that personable aspect out of it. And yeah, again, use it as that learning.
That's great. So, what do you do within your membership that actually is such an exciting factor that causes engagement and connection and camaraderie and support that a lot of other online communities just don't have or aren't doing? Tell us what your secret sauce is.
The secret sauce. Well, it's the team. It's having a great team. It's having members that have shown up to say, I'm active in Facebook. I'm this, and so I'd like to, generate conversations within the Facebook group. Great. So and it's so we use People's Expert to really help build these online communities in our LinkedIn, in our Facebook, on our Twitter. I mean, everything. Our speaker chat is highly successful. It's the amount of good comments that come in from that it's outstanding, and that was born of a vision. A couple of our co-founders, Melanie Benson-Strick, Tracy Eman, they came with the vision of having this online chat in a Twitter environment. Well, when they approached us about that, I barely was on Twitter, and anyway, they have grown it. It's popular. There's hashtag trackers that we've tracked during a conversation that would reach over 6.5 million people. I mean, it's outstanding what they've done, but they've created that. Facebook, the exact same thing. Our Facebook group, which is where we got a lot of good engagement. That's daily. That's by the minute engagement going on. When it first started, there was 50 people in it. And then it grew to 100. Then it would grow to 500. And I remember I'd be excited that, wow, I remember the time when we got up to 20 people requested to come into that group this month. Wow, like 20 people. We get 125 people at least a week now requesting to come in. And through its evolution, we've learned that what the group has wanted, and that's, again, listening. They didn't want self-promotion. They didn't want certain things happening into the group. So it wasn't us saying, hey, this is what needs to happen in this group. It was the community saying, we want this group, this private group, to be a certain way. We want it for active discussion only. But you know what? We also want to promote ourselves too. So we had to find a balance, and it took speaking to a variety of different members saying, would you like this? Would you like that? And eventually came up with our thread system, where we have a promotional daily thread each and every day. So it allows promotions to be within that single thread and active discussion to be outside of those threads. Now, we have a group of I think it just broke 8,000 people now. So you can imagine managing a group that size is kind of crazy, and new people will come in and they'll post promotional threads outside of the promotional posts. That's a tongue twister. Outside of the promotional threads. So we actually have members who have stepped up, who want to preserve the integrity of the group, and there are community liaisons, and they go in and they just simply will contact you directly and say, hey, could you please, post within the thread, and they manage they manage the preservation of that outside area for discussion only. 80-20 rule. It's, for the most part, it's great, and still the comments that come in today or people love that group. There, I mean, and you just go in there, and you can go in and ask any question you want. I guarantee you'll get response to that question. The connection is unbelievable, unbelievable. Anything you need to know.
Amazing. Wow. And I know that as part of what it is that you bring to the community to prompt membership engagement starts, right at the hub of things. And, where you bring them in and you share about the Facebook group and the Twitter and all that's available in WSA. And tell us how that has been so successful for you.
Well, and actually, this is a great time for anybody who wants to follow along and learn about building community, because while if you come on today, you'll see a very active, thriving Facebook group. Okay, it's now hit the algorithms within Facebook. People love it. It gets fed new members all the time. It's a good system. Now, one area where we haven't spent a whole lot of time, and it's now our focus, is LinkedIn. So we have a private group there as well. There's 1,000 people, and we are now just working with a new team member, Shelley, and we're going to be just introducing her to the community March 1st. And what's really great is we're going to invite people to watch firsthand how to build community on LinkedIn. We're going to do that cooking demonstration.
Yeah, nice.
Because so many people, because when you come in, just for example, the Facebook, you come in 5 years later, you see a great group, and you think it's always been that way. It hasn't. There's been a lot of learning along the way, right? And so we're starting off LinkedIn, and you're going to see how it grows. We're going to share with you everything that we're doing to build engagement. We're going to share the strategies. We're going to share what we're doing. We're going to share the numbers. We are just benchmarking everything right now, and you will see the numbers. Numbers don't lie. And through this demonstration, you'll be able to do the exact same thing, because we're not magic. It's really important. So this brings me to it's really important to surround yourself, like I said, with the right team. So one of the things I had said at the end of Q4 for the vision for the new year was the LinkedIn community. LinkedIn is huge, and I knew that had to be our next funnel, right? The next community that needed to be built.
Mm-hmm.
We needed the right people to do that, right? And you have to say to it's checking in with your team. What positions do you need to fulfill? What kind of expertise do you need to bring in? And it's through our own community that we find all that, right? And then those team members can work in collaboration together. So you get some brilliant minds together, working together on the same project, and you can't help but not fail, right? Like you really get out there. So an investment, not only in people, but one thing that is also a key thing is getting the right tools in place, right? I mean, I know we'll talk about this when we talk about some, how we conduct some calls and things like this, but there's a lot of free product out there. Sometimes it's not the way to go, because what happens is when your community builds, you have to have the right infrastructure in place. I mean, I know I have some systems in place right now that couldn't sustain the growth, so they're being looked at right now to be upgraded, right? It's just a fact of matter. But when you're engaging in social media and you want to go at it in a strong way, you have to have the tools in place, and sometimes that requires some financial investment, because there's a lot of cool tools out there, and it's business, you know. You have to put some things in place to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, is when growing a community is, with the Facebook, I have hired help of somebody a couple hours a day just to manage the inbound traffic of the Facebook group, because you have to be a member to get in. So that's one of the strategies we use. You have all of our communities are locked down. You cannot come in unless you're a member. So we have to take your name, we have to check your name against the membership, and if we see you're a member, then you come in. Okay? So there's no one in our groups that are not members.
I love that. Yeah, yeah, it's key. And managing that can be an intense project.
Yeah.
And if you're talking 8,000 members, yeah, yeah, that's huge. And managing them from start to finish, and that's just one piece. So you're managing that group as it relates to Facebook and Twitter, and now you're expanding into LinkedIn. It really shows the commitment that you have for not just growing the community, but for supporting the community. And I know that members really appreciate that, because there's some people who thrive more in the Facebook community than they do in Twitter or LinkedIn. There's some who are more vibrant in LinkedIn than anywhere else. And so you really do want to consider what can suit your membership, what you can manage best for your membership. And then you talked about it, and I love this piece too, growing strategically. You didn't try to do everything at once. And so kind of give us the inside view of how you managed that. How did that all happen?
How do you grow? When we started with a simple WordPress blog and a newsletter. That was it. No social media, nothing. Um, and it was about the intention of engagement, finding out who else wanted to talk about this, who else shared the vision. So there was a lot of phone calls. It grew that way. And then as those members started coming in, and actually we went out with a free membership. There was no paid membership at that time, because really we didn't want to sell something that wasn't really fulfilling, uh, a make-believe scenario. We wanted to know what a community would need or want, and then go out and fulfill that order, and then be able to package it up. And what we have today is our paid membership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but at first, it was simply there's a free membership, and that's what gave us that initial foundation of community to be able to go out and survey and say, hey, uh, what are you looking for? Would you pay for this? What what do you need? It's through that staging that we've launched all these different aspects. So the Facebook obviously was one of the earliest things. Then came in Twitter, and Melanie and Tracy run a fabulous Twitter community. It's outstanding, and now the LinkedIn community, because it's based on what the members need. Okay, they things that have just recently serviced, like the radio show WSA Radio, and the WSA Education Center, Learn on Demand. Those all came just this year, because members have said they wanted that. An active conversation that's going on in our Facebook group right now. I don't know who started the thread, but I don't know. I think it has about 100 comments on it right now. It's
Wow.
about they want a live conference. So we've already met as an executive team, and yeah, it's in our very near future. So all these things just don't happen overnight, right? They
Mhm.
come on demand from the community because and that's the only way how we're doing it is listening to it just sounds so cliche that listen to your customer. That's all. That's all. And there's great tools. We use Constant Contact, and there's great tools within that surveys that you can use, and it tracks. It gives us this beautiful Excel spreadsheets, and very interesting because I was talking to some sponsors about Women Speakers Association. And the first thing I was asked, "Do you have a survey of your membership?" I said, "Yes, I do, actually." And was able to present an Excel spreadsheet with the questions and the answers and the summary. It's it's what you need for growth. It's what you need for your direction. You don't have to sit there and bang your head against the wall trying to figure it out because your future customer will tell you exactly what they would like. And all you have to do is fulfill it. It's pretty easy.
Great, great. Oh my gosh, I'm loving what the future's looking like for you guys. Well, tell us, you mentioned something about a tool for engagement as you're bringing people into the community. How do you manage, new members? And I know you do new member orientation, whether you're a free
Associate or
membership
premier?
or premier. Tell us a little bit about how you're engaging with people there.
Okay, it's just not all about online. Okay? It gets kind of boring just typing away on our computers. We do that enough, don't we?
Yeah.
So we use the good old-fashioned telephone, and we connect through. There's multiple calls going on in a week, but there's standard ones that happen throughout the month, and there is something absolutely every single week that you can get connected with. Our commitment to that membership is one to, um, you know, get your message out to the world, but also to help you connect, collaborate, and mastermind with the other members. Okay? So we want you, when you join in this community, whether you're an associate member or whether you're a premier member, one thing that will always happen on every single call is we have a connect portion. Okay? So whenever a new call is designed, we have a connect portion. And a connect portion is simply, it can be from introducing your name and where you're from and what it is that you do, to a much deeper level where you'll talk about what you do, what you need, right? And those other calls where you talk about what you need and mastermind on solution for it, right? So there's different levels that we explore, but everything for sure is you'll always get off a call knowing that your voice was heard and that you were able to say who I am. Remember going back to that face-to-face networking, you know, um, it it's done in a facilitated way so that everybody gets a chance to know each other because I think it's really important. And I meet the best. This is where where I meet my team, we meet the team members are on those calls. Is on those calls. Meet everybody on those calls, and everybody's doing business with each. They connect. It's great. I love them. They're so exciting. I wish I could go on more. Um, but we use a system called Maestro Conference Call. Now we know there's free teleconference systems out there, but we learned through one of our early members, I can't even remember who now, introduced us to Maestro conferencing. And what that did was give us the ability we could have 100 people, 1,000 people in the room and break out into people into private little groups of 2, 3, 4, whatever number you want. And it allows you to connect in an intimate environment, right? Have a private conversation. So when you're on those mastermind calls and you have a group of 4 other women working on your need on that thing, that challenge that you have in your business, and you have these 4 other women working on that with you, wow. Okay? And that's happening simultaneously in all these other breakout rooms. So it takes that big group and breaks it down. That's why on the calls, if you just schedule this into your calendar, you will meet people every single month, and you will grow your connectivity exponentially just by attending these calls on a very personal level. So they are fantastic. There's some people that are always on, but I can guarantee you they're always different. You're always meeting new people. For our associates, our brand new associate members coming in, we have what we call our associate member welcome call, and where we kind of demonstrate all of this stuff, where we go, this is, you go into breakouts, you get to know 2 or 3 people in the crowd. You learn about all these other different calls that are there, so that you can experience it, because, we want to kick the tires. We want to know what it's like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the premier level, that's where we get into more masterminding calls. We get into, we have very specific connect and collaborate calls, where we're just taking short amounts of time, and we have 30-minute. It's a 30-minute time frame. We come on the call. 20 minutes of the 30 minutes is you connecting with your group with what you need. So it's very specific, and it's all facilitated. So you don't have to worry about being shy or what to say. We help you with all of that, so that it's very easy to come in and connect and collaborate with others.
That's beautiful. I love it. And that's actually one of the huge things that I love about WSA. Not only all of the major benefits that members receive, whether you're an associate member or a premier member, but the way that you have set things up to not just welcome new members, but to welcome and engage with them right away, and then continue to promote the engagement going forward, and not just by going out into the Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn groups, but right there within the community. And I think that you've got a beautiful model for others to actually look at in order to utilize, whether you've got a 10-person mastermind group,
Yep.
or a 20-person coaching group. You want to have that time where people can actually connect and communicate with each other, get to know each other better, and support each other's needs. And I love the way that you've done that. And I know that, I'm looking at the time, you have brought something for our Biz Info Zone audience that is a special to get into the membership today. And I want people to know that they can go to skyhawkenterprises.biz/WSA and find the information. But Gail, if you would be so kind as to just give our viewers a feel for what they're going to find at that page.
All right, so when you arrive at that page, you will see a comparison chart, so to speak, of all the variety of benefits. You'll see the 2 columns, free membership and what we call, that's called our associate membership, and then you'll see the premier membership. And you'll see the different benefits that are associated with each. The associate membership, absolutely. Come on in. It's free. You'll just simply click join now. You just put in your name and email. That's fine. You'll be invited on a new associate member welcome call. You'll be able to get into the Facebook community. You'll be able to come into these communities that we're talking about today, and you'll see them, and you get a feel for people. You can meet members. You can ask them questions, anything like that. Now, if you're a person that's saying, I truly want to get out there, I want to get my message out, I'm already at that point, what's really great is then you'll want our premier membership, because that is about get seen, booked, and paid. That is about getting your message out there in a bigger way. So if you think of the associate membership, it's about getting connected, right? But the premier membership is about getting your message out. And that's where all our benefits, all those benefits around that, diving in deeper with your connections, they all hold in that premier membership, which is a one-time fee of $99, and then it's $9.99 a month. Now, what we give you with that is a speaker success kit. One of the best things that you'll receive is a profile online that's not just visible through Women Speakers Association, it's visible through Meeting Planners International and the Global Speaker Federation. Now, you might be somebody that, hey, you're not out there speaking right now. That's okay. It's just great to have your picture, your name, your contact information up there just so other members can find you. It's searchable. How people search you is through the keywords of what your expert is. How would somebody find you? So, for example, you speak on health. Well, people would put in those keywords of healthy living, stress-free eating, or weight loss, whatever it is. They would find you. So a lot of activity happens on those, anywhere from being invited to be on guest talk shows on Google Hangouts to blogs, anything like that, right through all the way to getting paid speaking engagements. So that's it's like having your own web page right out there, viewable by Google. It takes about 3 months to get out there, but it's out there in the Google world, and that's really fantastic. And for your community, in support of what you're doing, Lynn, to get people's messages out there, which I love, and connecting them, we want to offer your community that join up as that premier membership through your link, a 15-minute radio interview done by either myself or someone on our executive team that will bring out who you are. So you can share that message so that we're able to introduce you to the community. Not just the community, but to our whole social media world and through those channels. It's wildfire out there. And you'll also receive a copy of that recording link so that you're able to put it on any of your marketing material or anything like that. So as well as we'd use it in our community to showcase you as well. So that's what we'd like to offer. And while you're in there, if you have any questions, you can always reach us at support@womenspeakersassociation.com. There's a purple support tab on the left-hand side of the website on every single page. You just have to click it, and any questions you have, we can get answered for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Gail. Thank you for joining us today, for sharing some of the inside scoop about how to get more engagement and grow your online community, and for this great offer. I know that a friend of mine went out there the other day, and membership is actually up at $129 for the year and $12.99 a month, or was going out there. I think
it will be increasing.
Okay, so now is the time. You want to go ahead and get this membership and be able to take advantage of getting the WSA radio interview. 15 minutes, and I was surprised. I did a 15-minute interview for the first time a few months back, and I thought, what in the world can be accomplished in a 15-minute interview? I was shocked. It was one of the best interviews I'd ever done. I think because it helped me to stay concise and to the point, and lots of great information. So definitely the link that you want to go to is skyhawkenterprises.biz. That's enterprises with an S on the end, .biz/WSA. And you'll get right to the page. Sign up. If nothing else, get the associate membership now. You won't be sorry. Get in on some of those calls. See how it's being done. And then, if the time isn't right now to do the premier membership, then maybe it's next week.
We're not going anywhere.
Okay. So I want you to go ahead and do that. skyhawkenterprises.biz/WSA. I want to thank you for joining us today. You've been in the zone, the Biz Info Zone, where we bring you all of the beautiful people who want you to know their strategies, the things that they're doing, their tips and their tools, sharing their tools so that you can plan your next move, express your purpose to a higher degree, and really take your life and the lives of others into the realm of prosperity. That's what we're doing here, and that's what we're all about. Join us again next week for our guest, Jason Hodge, who's going to be talking about YouTube. And that's probably going to be one of the next areas that you guys move into, huh?
Yeah.
I'm so excited because we're just tracking along and growing together, and it's a beautiful thing. You want to grow faster and easier? Hang out with us. All right, I'm Velin Hawkins. I've been your host today in the zone, the Biz Info Zone. It's been my, as Les Brown would say, plum-pleasing pleasure to be here with you today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll look for you next week. Thanks again. Bye for now.